Hi guys, thanks for joining. I hope you are doing well. So as you can see, we are still talking about some vocabulary lessons, alright? Very important lessons for baccalaureate students in Morocco and for all English learners in general. So in the previous lesson, we talked about adjectives, how to make adjectives using suffixes, alright? So today, in this episode, we are going to talk about nouns, how to make and shape nouns. All right, so in general, when we talk about nouns, is the same as talking about adjectives. So we have two different general types of nouns like adjectives, right? So we have some nouns that we can call independent nouns, right? So nouns that stand by themselves. For example, we can talk about this. This is a board, for example. So we can talk about board. All right, we can talk about pen, for instance, okay? Paper, all right? Mobile phone, for instance, mobile phone. We can talk about marker, we can talk about book, for instance, okay? Book. All right, we can talk about love, for instance, okay? Love. So as you can see, these are nouns, these are examples of nouns, all right? These are all nouns. But as you can see, these nouns can stand by themselves. So here we don't have any suffix. We don't have any suffix or suffixes to make these nouns. So these nouns are, we can call them independent. They can stand by themselves, okay? So these are only examples. On the other hand, we have some other type or another type of nouns that we can create and make using what we call suffixes, okay? What we call the suffixes, all right? So today's lesson is about nouns that we create and shape using suffixes, okay? Using suffixes. So some of the suffixes that we can use to make nouns, for example, we can find ety, for instance, okay? This is an example of suffix that we can use to create or make nouns. We can also find something like tion, or maybe you can find only ion, and this is something that we pronounce shin, for example, like in communication or perhaps in motivation, for instance. So this is an example of suffix that we can make or use to make nouns, right? We have other suffixes like, for example, ness, for instance, ness, all right? We can also have ism, for example. This is a very common suffix to make nouns, right? We can also find ment, for example, okay? Ment, this is another suffix to make nouns, like in government, for example, government, okay? Government. And ety, for instance, we have shin, tion, or we can also talk about only ion, okay? Both of them are the same, ness and ism. These are not the only ones we have. We have some other ones that we will tackle in another episode, but if you remember only these ones, it's great. So here we are going to see these five suffixes that we can use to make nouns. All right, now let's start with ety, for instance. We can talk about creativity, right? Now here, as you can see here, we have two suffixes. Here we have two suffixes. We have this one, the verb, and if, creative, is the adjective, and ety, this one, hold this, it is a noun, all right? So here we have two suffixes. We have creative is an adjective, and we have creativity is the noun, but to create is the verb, okay, is the verb. All right, we can also talk about objectivity, again, this is adjective for adjective, all right? Objective is an adjective with e, and objectivity with et, it is a noun, okay? So this is the suffix, okay? We can use it, okay? Objectivity. We can also talk about vivacity. This is the suffix again, so this one is a noun, vivacity. Audacity, for example, we can talk about audacity. Okay, audacious, the adjective, okay, audacity. So this one is for noun. So audacity is a noun. So these are only some examples of nouns with the suffix -ety, okay? Now let's go to shun, that we pronounce shun or T-I-O-N. This is something that we can find in, for example, communication. This is the verb. This is a verb. Communication, okay? Communication with I-O-N or T-I-O-N also, okay? We can talk about motivation, for instance. Motivation. The verb is motivate. This is the verb, motivate with E. Motivation, okay? We can talk about innovation, for instance. Innovation, okay? Innovate, the verb is innovate. Innovation with I-O-N, as you can see, right? So these are only some examples with T-I-O-N. So all the words with I-O-N is a noun. So here, this is a suffix to create. So the verb is communicate, to communicate. The noun is communication, okay? Motivate, the noun is motivation, okay? Innovate, innovation, right? So we have a lot of nouns with shun or with I-O-N, okay? All right, now let's go to meant. For example, here we can find it in something like, we can say, environment, for example. This is a noun with meant. We can find it in movement, move, the verb move, movement, for instance, okay? Movement, all right? We can find it in another verb, which is govern, government, okay? So we can say the Moroccan government, okay? The Moroccan government. So these are examples of nouns with the suffix ment, okay? So ment is another suffix to, okay, to make the noun, okay, to make the noun. All right, now let's go to ness. All right, for example, we can talk about shy. All right, someone who is shy, okay, so we can say shyness. All right, so shy is an adjective. This is adjective, and ness, shyness, is a noun, okay? So adjective and noun, shyness, okay? We can talk about happy, someone who is happy, so we can say happiness, okay? Happiness, all right? So happy with Y is adjective, and happiness is a noun. The opposite of happiness is sad, so we can say sadness, okay? Sadness, all right? And we can also talk about sick, someone who is sick, for example, and say sickness, okay? We can find another one like, for example, job, okay? Job. Job is a noun, okay? It is a noun. It is an independent noun. So we can make it adjective, and we can say jobless, okay? Jobless, okay? Jobless. Jobless is what? Is an adjective, okay? Is an adjective. Less is a suffix of adjective. So a noun can be joblessness, okay? Joblessness, okay? So the noun is joblessness, okay? From jobless, which is the adjective. So as you can see, ness here, we can add it to, as I said, or as you can see, to shy, happy, sad, sick, jobless. These are adjectives, okay? These are adjectives. So we can add it to adjectives, not like shun. So for example, here we have communicate, motivate, innovate. These are verbs, okay? So we add it to verbs. Okay, creative, objective, these are what? These are also adjectives, all right? Govern, move, these are verbs, okay? These are verbs, all right? So this is very important to know this, right? Now, ism is another suffix to make nouns. For example, like when we find, okay, racism, for example, racism is a noun, right? Racism. We can also talk about fanatic, okay? Someone fanatic, all right? And we say fanaticism. This is like in My Son Fanatic by Hanif Qureshi. Okay, this is a good novel to read. Okay, fanaticism. We can talk about optimism. So these are examples of nouns with ism. So every word that has ism at the end, like this, it is a noun, right? It is a noun. So these are examples, only examples of nouns and only examples of suffixes to make noun, like ism, like ness, like shin, like this one, or eti, or meant, like here, okay? So these are all the examples. Okay, so it is up to you to add more words to this list to learn more words and more vocabulary, right? So this is it. Okay, right. Now let's try to complete these 3 sentences, but what you have to keep in mind here in these sentences is what is missing. So you have to know and figure out what is missing here. Do we need here, for example, a verb or a noun or an adjective? Here again, a noun or verb or adjective. Here again, what is missing? Verb or noun or adjective. This is what you have to do. You can pause the video, try to do it alone, and then we correct together, okay? All right. Now, he is a person, okay? He is a person. Here we have an article, and here we have a person, and this is a noun. So here we have a verb. This is the verb. So we cannot have here another verb. No. And here we have an article and we have a noun. Again, we cannot have here a noun, another noun. Noun plus noun. No. So for sure, we need what? We need an adjective to describe the person, okay? To describe this person. So he is, we need an adjective. So he is what? We can say he is a creative. This is the adjective. Creative, or an objective, for example. Or he is a shy. This is adjective. He is a happy person. He is a sad person, okay? So these are adjectives that we can complete this sentence with, all right? So we can say, for example, he is a creative, okay? A creative person. Creative person. If is for what? Is for adjective, right? So he is a creative person. This is an adjective to describe this noun, right? Now let's go to number 2. The leader should with people. The leader should, and here was, as you can see, we have a modal verb, okay? This is a modal verb. This is a modal verb, and after a modal verb, we always use what? We always use a verb, okay? For example, you can say, I can speak English, for example. I can is a modal verb, speak is the verb, okay? So this is a modal verb. After a modal verb is always another verb, okay? Because this one is an auxiliary verb, okay? So the leader should what? We need a verb with people. Should, very simply, we can say should communicate with people, okay? Should communicate. This is the verb with E at the end, okay? So he should communicate with people, okay? So here we have the verb because this is a modal verb, okay? Now let's go to number 3. We should protect our. This is a possessive adjective. Most of the time, possessive adjectives are used with nouns. For example, you can say my book. This is my marker, my t-shirt, my shirt, my trouser, my book, etc. So our, so for sure we need what? We need a noun here. So we should protect our what? Very simply, we can say environment. So we should protect our environment. This is a duty toward our environment. So we should protect our environment, okay? A noun, okay? Why is it a noun? Because here we have the possessive adjective. Okay, so I hope you find this easy to understand. If you have any question or suggestion, never ever hesitate to ask. See you in another episode with another lesson. Have a good time and goodbye.